But if we say, all right, Mama Dollar and Papa Dollar, hey, bank, give us $10. So we have $12 to go, buy more stuff. And in the early days of debt, it's amazing, right? You get more than the dollar of debt impact on incremental GDP because, there's actually stuff that people want and people need. And then as you go on, when the debt gets higher and higher and higher, the incremental return to that incremental dollar of debt falls. You get to a point, actually, where it actually has a negative return, right? Because how many TikToks can you watch? How many,
apparently infinite.
How many tchotchkes can you buy for your shelves? I don't got room on my shelves for any more tchotchkes. I mean, how many books can you stack up and never read, right? At some point, you're just done. And so then it's, experiences. Okay, now it's experiences. Okay, fine. But again, there's only so many hours in the day. You got to sleep, stuff like that. So at some point, we reach, and I think we have reached in many cases, the tipping point where now we're generating debt and spending just because we have to. It's like a shark, right? If a shark doesn't keep moving, it dies. And look at the government and deficits, massive deficits. Well, how do you fund a deficit? You have to issue debt. Well, who buys the debt? Well, if the rest of the world says, I don't want your debt, then the central bank's got to buy it. And if you look at the central banks, that's what they do. They just keep buying those government bonds. And the funny thing is, Kyle Bass was screaming about this for years about Japan, that it had to end badly. Well, it hasn't, right? Japan today at 226% of debt to GDP on the Bank of Japan balance sheet is mind-numbingly interesting.
It's still functional.
It shouldn't work.
I know.
But it did, and it does. And you go to Tokyo, it's a pretty cool place. The reality is, we will get through it. This is the weird part, right?
Yeah,
we will get through it. And the funny part to me is always 10 years out, 20 years out, looking back, we'll have this quaint notion that, remember the good old days when, Coca-Cola was only $4 instead of $20. And for whatever reason, we convince ourselves that the current prices are always reasonable. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is everything devalues together. So incomes go up, prices go up, home prices go up, everything's more expensive. I mean, if you look at that, we've all seen it, right? In 1950, a house was $5,000 or $25,000 and a car was $3,000 and the average income was, $2,000 or whatever it was. And then 20 years later, those numbers all double. And then 30 years later, those numbers all treble. And, it's funny. It's like, I'll have to pick on Tesla, but, a $75,000 Tesla, right? It's a rich person car. That is not a car for the masses. That's a rich person car. Mm. But at some point, a $75,000 car is going to be an economy car, right? I mean, the idea that you could ever spend, when I was growing up, there weren't cars. I mean, Lamborghinis and Ferraris, but there were no cars. Even Mercedes didn't cost $75,000.
Yeah.
I mean, and Mercedes was it, right? In terms of luxury, there was no Lexus, there was no, nothing. And, now it just becomes commonplace. Or I don't know if you tried to go to you tried to go to a concert. I mean, I don't know what that ticket costs.
I don't even want to tell you.
No, I know. And you think that's normal, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember buying a ticket to a concert for the same people you saw 40 years ago, and it was like $10. Mm-hmm. I mean, Literally,
How many
$10.
$10 concerts today?